Let's now discuss the student programs that are collected for end of year. This is a list of all program codes that are collected throughout the year. Although some programs are collected in fall 1 and some in end of year, it is important to report, update a student's eligibility or participation in CalPads as soon as the information is available. You do not need to wait until the submission window opens to submit end of year programs. It is important to continually update program records, and some programs are used for subgroup reporting in end of year and for the California dashboard. So, what are these programs? You have Title 1 Part A Basic Targeted, Title 1 Part A Neglected, Homeless Program, Armed Forces Family Member, Tribal Foster Youth, 504 Accommodation Plan, the Opportunity Program, California Partnership Academy, the pregnant or parenting programs, which is formerly known as CalSafe, and the expanded learning program. It is important to note that even though the expanded learning program is collected locally as a program, it is submitted as a separate file in CalPads using the LEAP file type. Let's now discuss each of these programs. So the first one is Title 1 Part A Basic Targeted. Students participating in the Title 1 Part A Basic Targeted are reported with the Program 122 code. A student's participation should be reported annually, and it should only be reported if the student is enrolled in a school that is identified as a Title 1 Part A Targeted Assistance School. If a school is identified as a school-wide school in CARS or the Consolidated Application Reporting System, a Program 122 record does not need to be reported since all students are reported and counted as participating. Let's discuss a wider aspect of the Title 1 Part A programs. So the Title 1 Part A school-wide program allows schools with a poverty threshold of 40% or higher to use funds to upgrade the entire educational program for all students, whereas the targeted assistance, which requires the Program 122 record, use funds only for specific students identified as failing or at risk of failing to meet state academic standards. The SWP, or the school-wide program, offers more flexibility to blend resources, while the targeted assistance or TAS requires strict tracking of eligible students. So let's walk through a simple game plan to make sure your CARS and CalPAS reporting align smoothly for end of year. First, start by running report 5.1 from the old end of year 2 in the academic year 24-25 reporting calendar. This gives you a baseline and helps confirm what schools were previously certified as school-wide program versus what schools were certified as targeted assistance. It is important to understand where you're starting before moving forward. Okay. Next, determine who in your LEA is responsible for the Title I funding and CARS reporting. This is critical. Work with that person to verify each school's current designation, whether they are school-wide or targeted assistance school. Third, once that's confirmed, ensure your CARS coordinator accurately certifies each school's status. Each school must be clearly flagged as either school-wide or not. This designation directly impacts how students are identified and counted in CalPads, as well as to avoid any Cert 97 errors down the road. Now in CalPads, report one Program 122 record for eligible students in Title I targeted assistance schools. Remember, school-wide schools automatically include all enrolled students, so you don't need to report individual eligibility for those schools. After determining what schools are eligible for school-wide and Title I targeted schools and identifying students on the targeted schools listing, run snapshots report 5.1 for end of year 1 for 25-26. Use this to confirm that your counts match expectations for both targeted and school-wide counts. And of course, you don't have to stop there, right? You have to review all the columns on report 5.1 since all of those counts are being aggregated and determined for your collection anyway. And then final step, once everything looks accurate and aligned between cars and CalPads, as well as your local counts, you are done and ready to certify end of year one after all of the other collections are also gathered and verified. There are instructions that you could refer to online with regards to consolidated application. If you go to the consolidated application website by just Googling consolidated application, it would land you to the CONAP page. Currently, instructions can be downloaded by clicking on the 2526 Consolidated Applications Reporting System Data Entry Instructions. If you click on this, it would bring up the documentation and guidance on how to do this. Remember, this is not your job as a CalPADS LA administrator. This is just resource that you could refer to when discussing designations for your schools with your CARS person. Next on the end of year program collection is your 504 accommodation plan. Eligible students are reported with a program 101 record, and a student's eligibility should be verified annually. However, LEAs do not have to close these records annually, only when a student is not eligible anymore. Next is the Armed Forces family member. This data is collected to meet the Every Student Succeeds Act reporting requirements and is reported using Education Program Code 192. A student qualifies if at least one parent is an Armed Forces member, meaning that parent is active duty, military, or full-time National Guard service. Eligibility is based on the parent's most recent active status. The program start date must be on or after the student's birth date and should reflect when the student was identified as eligible. The program end date should be populated when the student is no longer considered an Armed Forces family member or on the last day of school if you try to maintain this record year to year. LEAs are asked to report these records when the information is available, as they support federal reporting and student group identification. So the key takeaway here is accuracy, as usual. Report eligibility when known, use correct dates, and exit the record when eligibility ends to ensure clean end of year reporting. Next is the Title I Part A Neglected Program. This program supports students who are neglected, typically those living in group homes or licensed children's institutions who attend non-Title I schools within the district. Eligible students are reported using Education Program Code 174. The program start date, again, reflects when the student began participating, and the program end date is when the student stopped participating for that program, or the last day of school if you normally update this every year. These records must be closed annually and resubmitted in the new school year if the student continues to qualify. It is important to note that Program 174 is only required if the LEA has students in eligible neglected institutions and those students attend non-Title I schools. Although this program should not be confused with Title I Part D, which is reported separately and primarily applies to county office juvenile court programs. So again, the key takeaway is to verify students' eligibility, use correct dates, and close records annually. Next is the Education Program Code 162, which is for pregnant or parenting programs. Is that these records are used for Carl Perkins Career Technical Education reporting and not just program funding. The program start date is again the date the student was determined to be eligible, and the program end date is when the student is no longer eligible or no longer parenting. These records do not need to be closed annually for returning students. Eligibility includes both student mothers and student fathers, so it is important to ensure all eligible students are identified and reported. Next is the California Partnership Academy program. The CPA is a 3-year school within a school model, typically serving grades 10 through 12, and integrates academic instruction, career technical education, business partnerships, mentoring, and internships. Students participating in this program are reported with Education Program Code 113. Again, the program start and end dates are based on their participation. When reporting the California Partnership Academy program, LAs must also report the California Partnership Academy ID assigned to the program as listed in the CDE Academy directory. So again, the key takeaway here is you report students who are participating in this program accurately and annually. Next is the Opportunity Education Program. Opportunity Education schools, classes, and programs provide extra support for students who are habitually truant, irregular in attendance, insubordinate, disorderly, or academically unsuccessful. So these programs are operated by school districts or COEs, and students are reported using program code 108. Again, the program start and end dates are based on participation. Records do not need to be closed annually for returning students. However, um, the eligibility must be reviewed annually. LEAs can opt to close records annually as well if it helps with re-verification. Now, let's review the requirements for identifying and reporting students experiencing homelessness. Okay? Each year, LEAs are required to administer a housing questionnaire to every student. The purpose is to identify any child or youth whose housing situation may meet the definition of homelessness. CalPAS administrators should stay in close coordination with the local homeless liaison. This collaboration is essential for making sure students who become homeless during the year are identified and updated in CalPAS. So whenever a student is identified as homeless, the LEA must submit a student program or SPRG record using program code for homeless programs. The program start and end date should reflect the actual date the student is eligible as a homeless student or became homeless. It is important to keep homeless status updated as soon as changes occur. Not only does this ensure students receive the services they qualify for, but it also contributes to a more accurate statewide homeless count, which is directly tied to federal funding for California. Updating this data in CalPAS regularly helps county and state liaisons anticipate needs and better support LEAs, especially those experiencing significant increases in homeless student enrollment. Another new guidance this year is that LEAs are now required to report homeless students and close out the program annually. Certain errors will trigger for current actively enrolled students if current or old homeless records are not closed at the end of the reporting year. So this table outlines how CalPAS handles different homeless record scenarios at the end of this year and what actions LEAs need to take. Bear in mind the data discrepancy errors will only trigger for current actively enrolled students with open homeless records. First scenario, when an actively enrolled student has a homeless record that started in a prior year and has no exit date, CalPAS will automatically close that record at the end of the year using a date of June 30, 2025 or earlier. So in this case, LEA should review the record and close it appropriately. And if students remain homeless into the new school year, which is this current reporting period, a new record should be created starting as early as July 1st or later. Second, current homeless records are still open, meaning they started July 1st, 2025 or later and have no exit dates. CalPAS will also force those records to close at end of year. LA should make sure these records are closed with the correct exit date when the student is no longer homeless or by the end of this year. Otherwise, SPRG 0746E1 will trigger. Finally, for prior homeless records where the student is no longer enrolled in your LA, CalPAS will automatically close those records after end of year with a June 30, 2025 end date. In this scenario, No action is required unless you want to update the dates based on your local data and dates. It is important that all homeless records should be closed appropriately this year for active enrolled students. Otherwise, those records will trigger any of these errors based on the different scenarios indicated. Next up is expanded learning programs. So AB 1113 was passed in 2024 and is based on research showing that after school and expanded learning programs have a positive impact on student outcomes. Students who participate in these programs tend to do better academically, socially, and behaviorally. So to monitor progress towards that goal, AB 1113 now requires the CDE to start collecting new data in CalPads. So now, LAs must report the annual number of students enrolled in any expanded learning program. Since the purpose of collecting this data is to understand overall enrollment and attendance in ELPs and funding for ELOP is provided at the LA level. This data will be a student level collection at the LA level and not at the school level. This means when submitting this data, LAs do not have to specify the student's school of enrollment. The program will be treated as a student program but will be collected through a new LEA level file named the Local Education Agency Program File or LEAP file. And any students who are participating or enrolled at Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, ELOP, the 21st Century Community Learning Centers or CCLC, and After School Safety and Enrichment for Teens Assets, as well as the After School Education Safety Program, are eligible to be reported for an ELOP program. With regards to submissions, LEA users need to have the new LEA view or lip edit role assigned to the users, and it should be on the LEA level users. Since the file does not have a school field, the roles cannot be given to school level users. So this quick reference table will guide you on how you report your ELP programs. So for expanded learning reporting, the key thing to remember is that data is submitted at the LEA level, not at the school level using the LEAF file as part of the end of year one collection. You are reporting annual student participation, not site-specific enrollment. And then, of course, the expanded learning day is counted if a student attended any amount of time on a given day. It does not matter how long the student participated, any participation counts as one day. LEAs also may report between 0 and 300 days for a student. Reporting 0 days is valid if a student did not attend any ELP activity during the academic year. Attendance tracking should follow local program requirements, but for CalPADS purposes, you only need to determine whether the student attended on each day, not the duration of attendance. For additional guidance on this, you may refer to CalPADS Flash 305.